But the goal here is that Joe Biden should just govern from the top.
This is somebody who's got a pretty far left agenda, and it's somebody who's intent on imposing it on the country.
But remember, of course, Trump was the dictator and the fascist.
And the things that he is going to do are quite dictatorial in nature. They're far-reaching. They have significant impact.
I tell you, this is dangerous stuff.
I'm Maya with the truth. Recently, YouTube has removed our ability to sell ads, hence pay our editors. You can help us survive the censorship by doing 3 things. 1, when YouTube unsubscribes you, subscribe back to our channel. 2, change your notifications to bell notifications, thereby giving you the ability to see exactly when you are a victim of censorship. And last but not least, follow thetruthmediagroup.com, home of uncensored content out of big tech's reach.
Joe Biden continued signing executive orders yesterday. He's signed, I think, what is it? I think he's up to 5,000 executive orders so far. He wakes up in the morning and whatever thought he happens to think that day, he'll convert it into a executive order. I think he'll be signing an executive order today to declare that chipmunks are the cutest forest animals. Anything at all, any thought he happens to think, let's make it into an executive order. But remember, of course, Trump was the dictator and the fascist.
Joe Biden comes in and signs all these executive orders, more than the last 5 presidents combined. I think he's up to 25. And Trump, Obama, George Bush, Clinton, the most that anyone did was Trump with 6.
I'm about to sign 2 executive orders, and basically the best way to describe them, to undo the damage Trump has done.
The one thing that I have this strange notion, we are a democracy. Some of my Republican friends and some of my Democratic friends even occasionally say, well, if you can't get the votes by executive order, you're going to do something. Things you can't do by executive order unless you're a dictator. We're a democracy. We need consensus.
Oh, we need consensus, do we? And also, you can't just do things by executive order. Is it? Also, that'd be a dictatorship if there was just one guy who could, just use executive orders and put his whims into law that way. Wouldn't that be kind of dictatorial, it seems?
Oh, it's just an attempt to basically govern the country by executive fiat. And I think it's very, very dangerous. And the nature of it, too, look at what he's doing. These are radical policies he's pursuing. I mean, killing energy jobs, killing the energy sector in the United States, which is essentially what he's doing. Can you imagine how many good-paying American jobs that's going to cost? I mean, and then you get the radical actions with women's sports and across the board. I mean, it's breathtaking what he's trying to do on substance. It's breathtaking that he's trying to do it without any democratic debate or legislation. And I think it really shows you this is somebody who's got a pretty far left agenda, and it's somebody who's intent on imposing it on the country.
My concern is that we are being ruled by executive orders and mandates and edicts and decrees and things of this nature. And so many people think that's absolutely fine because we're not teaching history, we're not teaching civics, so people don't understand these things.
I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. But the goal here is that Joe Biden should just govern from the top. And the things that he is going to do are quite dictatorial in nature. They're far-reaching. They have significant impact. When Joe Biden comes in, and the first thing he does is he says, you know what? We're going to go back to training people that America is inherently unfair and cruel, and the only way to fix America is radical change to its institutions. The basic notion here that Joe Biden is pushing is that we have to inculcate throughout our federal workforce, and presumably throughout our educational system, the idea that America is inherently bad and requires systematic and fundamental change on every single level. That's a pretty big statement. Does that sound moderate to you? Or does that sound rather radical to you? And does it sound, and he says he is going to use every area of the federal government to cram this down? Every area of the federal government is going to inculcate these values? I mean, that sounds a lot like using executive fiat in order to radically change the nature of the country.
He's been using his power pretty egregiously. It's not acting, showing this unity that he keeps talking about because he's just using his power that he has so strongly.
I'm getting a little tired of this word unity.
I don't have any illusions. The Democrats are going to, they're going to use every trick in the playbook, and I think that they will ultimately try to get rid of the filibuster because they have a radical agenda that they want to jam down the throats of the American people. And let's talk about unity for a second. Unity and healing that Joe Biden and the Democrats say we need, that's not what they're giving us. They are attempting to have total control. They're trying to silence opposition. They're trying to silence people like me who stand up and speak out against them. And they're trying to jam down a radical agenda, jam through a radical agenda without public support. And I tell you, this is dangerous stuff.